What's going on, Knicks fans? You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. Marshall Green here. And if you want to be featured on one of these mailbags, if you want me to answer your questions, it's a two-step process. You got to be a subscriber, so go down right now, hit that big red button, help us get to 12,000 subs. And you also got to join us for our live shows. So turn on your notifications so every time we go live, you guys know and you'll join the party. Like my guy David Brown is, he says, is Cam starting over Fournier a better starting lineup? So Ian Begley a couple of months back, or weeks back at this point, said that there's probably going to be a shakeup in the starting lineup. And what he meant was Evan Fournier is most likely not going to be a starter. And all the guys that people thought of, Knicks fans that thought he could take a spot, were Quentin Grimes or Cam Reddish. I think Cam is kind of a clunky fit, in my opinion, in this starting lineup with Brunson, Cam, R.J., Julius, and Mitchell Robinson. He's another player that needs the ball in his hands to be effective. Cam's not really an off-ball guy, and that's not a problem. I think those type of players are needed on teams, and I think it'd be best coming off the bench alongside of a guy like Fournier quickly and Derrick Rose off the bench with Obi Toppin, Hartenstein, and Jericho Sims off the bench. I think Quentin Grimes is the guy, though, that's going to end up starting at shooting guard because the Knicks need some perimeter defense. I think Cam is a good defender, but I think Grimes has the potential to be an elite defender. And if you have him alongside Barrett and Jalen Brunson, you have a guy that can hang out in the corner and shoot threes. And that's not really what we want Cam to do. We don't want him to be a guy that just hangs out in the corner. Let him dribble the rock. Let him get to the hole. Let him play make. Let him be a hooper because that's what he is. I do think it'd be better, David, but I would go with Quentin Grimes over a guy like Cam Reddish. Appreciate your question, though. Omar, what up, man? Do you think Mitch and Hart can play the 4 and the 5? I think we will see a little bit of that this season. We know Tibbs likes to go with the traditional lineups. He had lineups last year with Mitchell Robinson and Taj Gibson on the floor at times. I know a lot of people when the Knicks signed Isaiah Hartenstein, they were like, we got to stretch big. And while he is able to make threes, he doesn't really shoot a lot of them. He started to shoot more threes down to the end of the season, but I want to say he only shot like 40 threes last season. The best part about Hartenstein's game is his ability to be a playmaker and get others involved, and you can run your offense through him. He's a very smart player. He's a guy that has advanced passing skills for a big man, so you could see him kind of running the Knicks offense through him at the top of the key. I expect that and would not be surprised if Mitch and Isaiah Hartenstein are on the floor at the same time. But I don't want people to think he's just some stretch floor that's going to let threes fly. That's not really his game. He can make them, but he's not going to take them every single dime down the court. Albert, what up, man? Why do you hate Cam Reddish? I don't hate Cam Reddish, guys. I really don't. But I do hate kind of the Cam Reddish hive, as I would call it. People that think that he's the next Paul George or the next Tracy McGrady or the next 6'8", 6'9" wing that's going to take over the NBA. If he was that guy, he would have already done that. And he hasn't done that through the first 3 years of his NBA career. These are the numbers. Only played in 15 games last year for the Knicks and never really found his groove is kind of the way I would describe it. 25% from 3. He does shoot good from the corner. But at some point, you just got to put it all together. And when you look at these 3 seasons, they're all just kind of underwhelming. He hasn't shot above 42% in his career one time. He was good in 2021, where he averaged 12 points and shot 38% from 3. He was good in the Eastern Conference Finals when the Hawks made it. I think Cam Reddish can be good. I think he has all the talent. He's 6'8", 6'9", smooth. If you saw Cam Reddish hooping at a park, you'd be like, this guy's going to be the next best player in the NBA because he's silky smooth, 6'8", can shoot it, can dribble it, can play make, can play defense. But at some point, it's on you. You can't always be a victim of your circumstance, and you got to go out there and be someone that's good in the NBA. I'm still waiting on Cam Reddish to do that. I don't think he can't be. I think he can be good. I'm just going to wait to see it because going into year 4, he hasn't really shown me it yet. But I want to ask you guys this question. Great question about Cam. Well, it really wasn't a question. You just asked me why I hated him, and I don't hate him. But who is the better player in your opinion? Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish. Type CR for Reddish. Type QG for Grimes. I'm very curious what all you guys think. The real ones have been showing out like crazy here on New York Knicks. Now, the real one roll calls have been a hit. The real ones have been tuning into every video, and I wanted to get you guys a shirt so you can rep it and be an official New York Knicks Now real one. If you're a real one and you want a shirt, go to chatsports.com/realknicks. The shirts won't last forever. They're already selling like crazy. I promise you, you're going to want to get one. Mine is on the way, and I cannot wait to wear it on the show. Show some love. Be a real one. Get a shirt. chatsports.com/realknicks. That link will be in the comments and description of today's show. Jay Boogie with a $20 super chat from my guy Jay Boogie. He said, I'm the closer for KTV. Wanted to let you know that I'll be name dropping this show in a new Knicks anthem for the great work y'all do. Salute, salute, salute. Dude, that's big time. CP the franchise is the GOAT, man. He paved the way for guys like me and for all the Knicks content creators out there. Richie, Into the Knicks Verse. Everybody that makes Knicks film school. Everybody that makes Knicks content is following in the footsteps of CP the franchise. I love Knicks Fan TV. I still watch it. He's a GOAT, and you're a GOAT, Jay Boogie. Send me the link on Twitter. I can't wait to listen. Appreciate you, bro. Another $20 soups. The soups are rolling in. Sage of the Knicks path. Spider will be a Knick Labor Day weekend. Knicks are going to help the Lakers are going to help to get the Knicks off of Westbrook once Pat Beverly is eligible to be traded. And I've heard those rumors that the deal is contingent on once the players that the Jazz got in the trade from the Minnesota Timberwolves, that those players can't be traded until about August. And that makes some sense, but I just think this deal is going to come closer, or I said August, I meant September. I think this deal will get done the closer and closer we get to training camp. Because despite all the reports that you hear about Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz willing to hold on to Donovan Mitchell, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. You can tell me you're building around him to win, but I will wait until you make a winning move. And the Utah Jazz have not made one move this summer to better their team for this season. I'll wait for that to happen. But I do think a trade gets done. I think Labor Day is about the timetable that I would roll with. Sage of the Knicks path, appreciate your question. Appreciate your super. Shout out to you, bro. You're a real one. Another super chat. This is a super chat bag. Shout out to Daniel Rodriguez. He said Jalen Brunson's signing was a joke. They lost in a Pro-Am game. Dylan. Oh, Dylan. The JB signing was a joke. Can we just run through some of those Jalen Brunson? Are the Jalen Brunson? I don't know if we have them in there, but it was not a joke. It's not even close. I think you're kind of just being a hater, to be honest with you. It is upsetting that Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and Obi Toppin lost in a Pro-Am game, but those guys weren't going hard. They weren't rebounding. They weren't trying to get hurt. While the other guys they were playing up against are playing for their lives. They're playing to be noticed. That's the biggest stage that some of those guys have ever played with. I know some of them are international hoopers and former D1 hoopers. So these just weren't scrubs. These were hoopers. But there's no way that Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, and Jalen Brunson should lose to them. And if you're saying that the Jalen Brunson signing was a joke because they lost in a Pro-Am game, I don't know if I can ever get you back to this side of sanity. But Dylan, I appreciate your question, boss. If you haven't yet, go hit that big red button. Subscribe to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We're growing like crazy, and that's a shout out to all of the real ones out there. We are on the doorstep of 12,000 subscribers, and I want to get there by the end of the week. So if you haven't yet, subscribe. And if you have, send it to a friend. Send it to someone that loves the Knicks and tell them to subscribe. They won't regret it. You won't regret it. We're growing like crazy, and we're just getting started. Subscribe. Hit that big red button. Let's ride. Jamal, what up, bro? Toppin or Grimes if you had to choose? I go back and forth every day, Jamal. I really do. It's tough. I've come to the conclusion that I'm willing to trade one. Whatever it is, don't tell me who it is until the trade's done. I don't know if I could choose one because I love Obi. I love Quentin Grimes. I think they both bring stuff to the table that winning teams could use. But I'm not trading both. You can have one. You can't have both. If you made me choose today, I want to keep Quentin Grimes. I go back and forth every time. I can't decide. I think Grimes is going to be a better NBA winning piece going forward. His skill set kind of translates easier to winning: defense, threes, shot creation, and the ability to play make. I think Obi might have a higher ceiling, but I think Queintin Grimes has a higher floor. You know, the higher floor, lower ceiling type thing. I'd roll with Grimes. I don't know. I'll ask you guys, though. Who would you want to keep in a Donovan Mitchell trade? Type 1 for Obi Toppin. Type 6 for Quentin Grimes. Jamal, great question. I think Grimes. I don't know. Stop asking me that. It's a tough question. I don't know. Next question. Come on. Richard77. Do you think Julius Randle can bounce back? A topic I'm much more certain of. I do think Julius Randle can bounce back. Will he bounce back? I think is the more important question. Will he? I don't know. Can he? Yes. Let's take a look, though, at what Julius Randle has done the past 2 seasons wearing the blue and orange. 2020, 2021, he was one of the best players in the NBA. Finished top 10 in MVP voting. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 45% from the field, and 41% from downtown. Julius Randle was a freaking baller in that season. He was a bucket getter, but he did it without the fans in attendance. Once the fans put their butts in seats, he started to play bad, dating back all the way to the Atlanta Hawks series. This past year, the raw numbers look great, right? 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Holy shit, Julius Randle had another great season. Just look at the last 2 graphics. 41% from the field and 30% from downtown. But it just wasn't the play of Julius Randle. He was disconnected. He was a shitty teammate. He was someone that seemed like he didn't get along with people. He was a pouty crybaby. He had like $163,000 in fines. He set a new career high in technicals. It just seemed like he kind of wore out his welcome, the thumbs down thing. I think he can bounce back. Will he? I don't know. I'll ask you, though, because I'm unsure. What's your confidence level in Julius Randle? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident, 10 being you're confident. I would say this. I think Julius Randle, the player of Randle, is closer to the guy we saw in 2020 than what we saw in 2021. If we can get somewhere in the middle, that's a good basketball player. And I do think with Jalen Brunson around, Randle is going to have a better season. Less of the playmaking burden is off of Randle's shoulder. Some scoring burden is off his shoulder. And Brunson is going to get him easy looks. And I think he's going to go back to being more of a pick-and-roll player and a guy that operates closer to the basket. But I'm not all that confident. Let me know how you're feeling. Scale it from 1 to 10. Francisco, if D-Rose stays, do you think someday he'd be a Knicks legend too? Once a Knick, always a Knick. Derrick Rose is already a New York Knick legend, in my opinion. Obviously not because of the success he's had on the court, but I love Derrick Rose. We all love Derrick Rose. I don't think there's any person out there that can legitimately say they hate Derrick Rose. But if Derrick Rose sticks around in a Donovan Mitchell trade and the Knicks get good, really good, and go into the playoffs and win games and Derrick Rose is on that roster, he can continue to be a fan favorite like he already is. I love Derrick Rose. He was the best player on the Knicks in that playoff series against the Hawks. He's a great player, class act, doesn't get enough credit for the way he was able to rejuvenate his career. A guy that was great because of his athleticism, transitioned into being a mid-range assassin and scorer. Derrick Rose deserves credit for that. He's already a legend. I think he is also really, really loved by New York Knicks fans. Last question on today's mailbag. Do you really think Jalen Brunson is going to make a difference? Yeah, I do think Jalen Brunson is going to make a huge difference. Because when you play in the NBA with Alec Burks as your point guard for 60 games, the upgrade you're going to see from Alec Burks to Jalen Brunson, if you're on the side that Sin City is kind of hating the Jalen Brunson siding, talk to me in 4 months and tell me that Jalen Brunson is not your first or second favorite player on the Knicks. So I think it's going to be the R.J. Barrett show and the Jalen Brunson show. Everything that Knicks fans and New York fans want in an athlete, Jalen Brunson brings. He's been doubted. He beat the odds. He's not the most athletic, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He plays with passion. He plays with heart, and he plays a winning brand of basketball. That's what Knicks fans love, and that's what Jalen Brunson is. And I believe everybody, even you, Sin City, that Jalen Brunson will be one of your favorite Knicks come season end. I want to show JB some love. Let's just type 11 in the comment section. Drop number 11 in the comment section. I'll give shout-outs to everybody that does. Drop number 11 in the comment section. Let's show Jalen Brunson some love. JB for 3. Bang! I can hear it already. Drop 11 in the comment section to show Jalen Brunson some love.